16 years old, I lost my brother in a car accident. I really see how short life is. You want to say what holds me together is my faith.
Throughout my life, there's a lot of things that have happened that have changed me and hardened me and made me very callous.
How did you end up in this industry?
It all really started with that devotional, and I don't think things happen by accidents or coincidences.
Sam and Ben both left their jobs during the pandemic to launch HVAC businesses. Sam found a top-line heating and air in Pennsylvania, while Ben started essential heating and cooling in Washington.
How did your wife feel about you quitting your safe corporate job?
Risk spells out faith. You do whatever it takes. That's the mindset.
So you can have this perfect plan, or you can just do it and make progress.
Turning hardship into strength, they built thriving companies that continue to scale at breakneck speed.
The easiest way for me to explain it is we keep it basic. So the B is you book the appointment, the A is you assign the appointment, the S is you sell it, the I is you install it, and C is you collect it. Keep it basic.
It's following exactly the same model. You've got leads coming in, you've got schedulers, you've got salespeople, and you've got contractors.
I want to ask a question I've actually never asked on the podcast.
That's a great question. My name is Sam. Started Topline, founder, CEO of Topline Heating and Air, which we are based out of Pennsylvania, and now we're serving in 3 states, going on 4 states here. We do residential heating and air conditioning, but a little bit about me. I started it 2020, right before, a big COVID, what we had out there in March. But before then, I was a technician out in the field, and I saw something. I thought there would be more, and, didn't know sales, no background, just kind of one day had that entrepreneur Caesar, that's what they call it. And one day I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try it. So quit my job and went on to build this company. And yeah, looking back now, it's kind of crazy the risk that I didn't realize I was really taking and the responsibility, I should say, more not even risk, responsibility, and what it takes to run a company. But yeah, from there we've been able to grow and serve and help a lot of people.
That's amazing. And so you started 2020. How many employees do you have? You said you're in 4 states. Like how big is the company now?
Yeah. So in terms of revenue or employees, I think we're just crossed our 325 or 350. We're about to be 325 employees with another 50 in the pipeline to start. So we'll be, I think, close to 400 or 500 by the end of this year is the pace for employees.
That's incredible.
Awesome. Yeah.
And revenue? Are you comfortable sharing?
Yeah, revenue. I mean, revenue is revenue. Revenue, we're pacing for $70 million this year, with a run rate of doing 120 next year, 130 next year. We're in 4 states. We're in Pennsylvania, Rochester, New York, Pittsburgh, Canton, Ohio. We just launched in Dayton, and we're looking to launch in Kentucky, Tennessee, down the East Coast. So
nice. And if I'm not mistaken, Ben is your brother-in-law.
Ben is my brother-in-law. So Ben is my brother-in-law. I'll let him introduce himself, but
it's funny. I was literally talking about this with you on the way here. 2 guys from completely opposite sides of the country, both doing similar things, and then end up in similar positions, married to sisters.
Yeah.
Just freaking crazy. And I was like telling you on the way here, I'm like, I don't believe in coincidences. So I don't know why everything happens the way it does, but I believe there's a bigger reason behind it and a purpose. So I'm excited to see what that happens.
That's awesome.
My name is Ben Gnatiuk. I started Essential Heating and Air also in 2020, but I didn't do it as intentionally as Sam did. So for me, I was also a service tech on the commercial side of refrigeration, and I wanted more for my life, just growing up basically with lack, I guess you could say. Because my parents split when I was really young, and my mom was working nights for as long as I can remember just to get by. And it was one of those situations where it's like, I never wanted this for my life, for my family, And I went from being a service tech on the commercial side to having an opportunity to become a service manager at a different company. I didn't know it at the time, but that company, it was sold and it wasn't doing well. So they were basically on the verge of going bankrupt. And then I got an opportunity to be a service manager there. And then COVID came around. And I basically, I proposed March 1st. 2 weeks later, COVID came.
Proposed as in like to your now wife?
Correct.
Got you.
So then 2 weeks after I propose, COVID comes around. We lay off 90% of our staff. Shortly later, I get laid off. But what's crazy is like right before I got laid off, I remember I was doing devotions. And I was reading about how King David was confirmed he was king. And I remember literally sitting there praying, drinking my coffee, and I'm like, God, if you want me to start my own business, let it be black and white. You have to speak very bluntly to me because I need the direction, I go for a run. I come back to a missed call from the general manager, and he was like, hey, I ran the numbers. We got to let you go. And that was like an hour later, bro.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. So what are you now? Is your company called Essential heating and cooling?
Originally, it was called Essential Mechanical because I didn't know anything about branding. So most people don't know what mechanical is. So then later we switched to Essential Heating and Air, which is what we are now. This year, we should be doing anywhere from 20 to 25 million in revenue with right under 70 employees.
And it's based out of Washington.
Correct. The greater Seattle area.
So 5 years ago, you started the company.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that I learned the first 2 years is really important to know where you're going, because at first I was trying to figure out what I was trying to do, and I was doing commercial because that's what I knew. And then I started trying to make my way into the residential side, and that's when I really started to grow, was on the residential side.
So you had your journey. We'll dive into it. I'm curious to know. Nice. So David, since Sam is further away from Seattle from us, we'll give him the honors to start first. And how did you end up in this industry? Obviously, you're fairly young. You're very young. You have a family. You have kids, right?
No kids, just a wife.
No kids, just a wife.
No kids yet.
Okay,
No kids yet.
Great. You were a technician. Was this your first job? Let's just go way back, and I want to try to understand who you are as a person, how you formed, how you became who you are now.
Yeah. My whole life, I've always been, now I look back, I was like telling him, I think I've always, in a way, been a visionary, a dreamer. I've always just dreamed, like, doing the impossible in a way, like, or how can this get done? I always believed in myself. I was very confident. Like if I, failed at something, I figured out, how could I get better at it, and just progressively, whether it's sports or something. I always wanted. I was competitive. Let's just
Did
put
you
it that
study
way.
well in school?
I actually did. I wouldn't say it was too bad. I was probably like a B student.
Like a B student.
B, C student. I literally would sit there in the classroom and I'm looking out the window, dreaming like, man, I can't wait to be doing this. Like it wasn't like I couldn't sit there and that was my. And I thought that was a weakness.
School was not your passion.
No.
You were beyond that.
At one point, I was paying people to finish projects for me. It was just that's just what I was doing to help get by. At the end of the day, what really, if I could think back, what really pivoted my life, if I could put it to one point, I would say, up until this point, I was very insecure as a person. I just didn't. I knew inside I believed in myself, but I didn't have the confidence to walk in that, right, into what I was so worried what people thought about me. Just that natural when you're growing up trying to discover your purpose, I guess. It was at the point where many people don't know this, but at 16 years old, I lost my brother in a car accident. So my brother was 17 years old. I was 16 years old. We got in a car accident. Me, him, my cousin. Me and my cousin survived. My brother died. So I watched that happen in front of my eyes, right? And at that time, it was just like, it was a big, I would say, like a big life shock to me moment. It was like I still remember that to this day. I can remember that, like the feeling of a shock of like, and the thought was, wow, life is short. Like I really see how short life is. And from there, I just started this discovering, like, I want to live a life that, I was created to be. I don't want to live a life of just going through the motions, I want to live a life I just want to exist. I don't want to exist. I want to live a life of purpose. And from there was my journey of first discovering myself, and along the way, like I think, you want to say what holds me together is my faith. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where I started assessing why is this happening? Like my brother, like this, so young, like all the, like just the maturity of it. But what I started to really learn along the way is the power of faith. Not just the faith to save you, but the faith that can give you the empowerment to walk out the kingdom on earth. What do I mean by that? It's like to see what is our God-given design, like how much we actually have more control, how much when we die to ourselves in a way and discover true purpose and true light, we start to actually come alive. I should put it that way. That's what I started doing, man. And that's where I like risk to me is just faith. That's what it is. Like risk spells out faith. And I remember at that time, like I was just like, I thought I was going to be a missionary. Literally thought that I was going to do was missionary because I went to Bible school then, graduated Bible school. I thought I was going to go to full-time missions. And then one day I was in the conference, and my real story, the story behind that was I got married at 21, and we're at a conference, and one day I just get this thought. Who's gonna, like, we have so many people, going into missionary and all these different areas. But what about impacting CEOs? The people that look like they have it, but they don't. They may look like they have it on the outside, but the inside they're broken and
Some
lost.
of the most broken people, honestly.
Right?
CEOs.
Yeah,
Whoa.
CEOs. That was my thought, right? And this is a guy I have no business degree. I have no idea. I'm like, well, this was common sense thought. I was like, well, I guess I have to learn to understand their language, which is in a way my thing. Okay, I guess I should start a business to kind of understand that.
Which CEO came to your mind?
I didn't know any CEOs. That's the crazy part.
I've been thinking about that, and I was thinking about big name CEOs like Jeff Bezos and so on, where if I would be put in front of him and I would be given that chance of 30 minutes to tell him about God, and I would always dream of that, some big names like Elon Musk, where I'm given 30 minutes to sit one-on-one with him and just tell him about God, because maybe nobody tells them about God. Like, they can hear it outside, but there's nobody that can actually tell them. That'd be interesting. So I was thinking maybe you had a name. Maybe
No.
You were thinking about one person.
Tying to this thought behind this, my thought one pastor once told me. And I was telling him I was, growing my faith. It's like, man, I want this person to say, I want this person, I want this person. He said, Sam, stop it. Your goal is not to save or change or anyone, people. You can't change anyone. But you live a life that is surrendered, that is yielded, that is an example of light. Your life begins to change people. Yeah. Your life will impact people's lives. Why? You become the light, and what? People start getting changed. Yeah, obviously, there's steps we take. It's not like you don't do anything, but your life becomes the ministry. And from that, dude, along the way, I'll tell you what business really did along from that way is I learned more about faith. I learned more about trust, relationship, love, what it's like to truly live a life from a place of peace when there's chaos happening on the outside. How do you maintain, vision, focus, understanding? How do you lead people?
Okay.
How do you lead from truth, not emotion? Like, there's so many principles I've learned along the way. But going back to it, from there, started researching. I did online, just like your typical businesses. I was working a full-time commercial technician. I went, tried the Amazon
company.
What's that?
And an HVAC company?
Commercial refrigeration.
Okay.
So it's completely different than what I'm doing now, in a way. Meaning we only do like big walk-in coolers and such.
Like at the Costco's and
Yeah.
Walmarts,
That's
like
what I was working on,
Gotcha.
right? And then I tried the Amazon drop shipping and all those FBA things. And then one day, I was like, you know what? It was actually starting to take off for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get my own van. I'm going to do a couple installs a month and I'm going to do a couple jobs. It's going to pay my salary. I'm going to focus on this Amazon gig. That's why I was like, that's going to be my vision. So I was like, I quit cold turkey, like just walked into the office, said, hey, I'm going to start my own. And that's one thing I told the owner of the company. Hey, one thing I'll tell you this, you have my word. I'm not going to go out there and just start taking your business. Like, I'm going to go on my own. I'm going to figure out how to get my own work. So I started.
What did he tell you then?
What's that?
What did he tell you?
Oh, he told me.
How old were you, first of all?
Hold
was
on.
23.
So you quit to start HVAC, or you quit to do FBA?
Both.
Amazon. Okay.
I thought the way out was FBA or Amazon. So I was going to use.
That's kind of the destination.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I see.
And this is going to fund your
Correct. That's what I was
FBA
thinking.
dream.
And if for anybody that doesn't know, FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon.
Yeah.
Basically, you're selling a product on Amazon as a third party.
Yeah. So from there, he told me just like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? We have, this management role you can go into, or we can grow you within. Like, it's not what you think it is.
You were a good employee. You were
Technician.
selling.
Technician. I wasn't selling at all. I
No,
was just
excelling.
Excelling. Yeah.
Because if he didn't let you go, it means he saw value in you, right?
I mean, the trades is a very dying. In a way, there's not enough. There's more demand than supply.
Okay.
Meaning, a lot of younger people getting into the trades, it's usually slim, bar none. It really is. If you go go interview the trades. Like, that's what they're going to tell you, staffing wise. I mean,
There's not enough technicians.
no, there's not enough. There's more demand than supply.
Yeah, there's not enough tradespeople to just do the actual work.
So that's we can dive into that, what we've done. But along the way, from there, we went on my own, and from there on, I was like, you know what, I got to stand out, and that's why I Googled marketing. Kind of thought came to my mind. I got to do marketing, so I did marketing, and I found, which is my partner who owned Systemized Media at the time, and I seen his ad. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna hire him. I went through the thing. I went through his sales funnel. I DM'd him actually on Messenger because I was like, I saw the ad. I was like, all right, who's this guru? I was like, no way, this guy lives locally. He was 30 minutes down the road.
What was he advertising?
Marketing for HVAC companies. That's what he does.
Okay.
Like, to get leads.
Yeah.
Because I knew I needed to find
So
work.
it's a lead gen guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lead gen guy. So right off the bat, I think I went through his sales funnel. This is funny. I'm DMing him. He's like, oh, I'm in Florida. We can chat when you get back. And I'm thinking in my head, man, I quit my job. I need work. So I'm like, you know what? I'm looking at this website and I seen that you could schedule a sales consultation. So I get on the call, and the sales guy ended up usually what I found out later on, they don't work with people that are one-man shows because it makes their marketing company look bad because you're generating all these leads. They can't convert them. They're saying that you're burning the money. I was able to tell him, hey, no, bro, I got it. Because I needed the leads. I was like, okay, if this guy can guarantee leads, I'll figure out how to get to the leads. So I was like, I have an idea. I said, no, I have it set up. My wife's going to book the calls. I'm going to run it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to run estimates. I'm going to install Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That was my plan. And guess what? I ended up selling him. And then he ended up calling his sales guy. He's like, why'd you sell this guy? I know this guy just started his company. He's like, but this guy had it like this guy's different is what he said. So I didn't even know, but I essentially sold myself.
You sold yourself to the sales guy.
Yeah, about it. And I ended up paying. I mean, I didn't know about negotiation. I paid the full price for his services, everything, all that. I think it was like $5K on my credit card because that's what I had. I had a credit card. I built the company off of credit cards, really. Just put it that way. Put on a credit card.
You had no capital.
No capital.
Spent it all on the van, on the equipment.
Yep.
How much was that?
10-15 grand probably. Used my savings for it.
Wait, 10-15 grand gets you all the tools and equipment you need to install HVAC?
I mean, this is pre-COVID, right? I was buying, cheapest van I could find. I was buying used tools. I was keeping my costs low.
Yeah.
I was doing whatever I could, and I was getting tools that I needed along the way.
What does it cost now, by the way, just to get a technician on the road?
Van, you're looking at 40 to 60 grand plus shelving, stocking it. You're looking at about 100K van by the time you do all the tools and everything.
Wow.
So,
How did your wife feel about you just quitting your safe corporate commercial job?
That's this beautiful part. She was all for the journey.
Really?
She believed that she's like, yeah, you can do it, and she was supporting me the whole time. I mean, she was getting up early booking.
Did you actually ask her, or
no? We just went for it. Really, I didn't really say like, hey, do you think it's a good idea? It was more or less like, hey, this is what I think I'm going to do. Kind of went for it.
and she's like, yeah.
Yeah, that was I think that was for our relationship. It was like she saw like how passionate I was. Like the whole goal of it was, she knew that I wanted to impact lives. I felt like this being a vehicle to make that happen, and we were both on the same page there. So like at the end of the day, she was an esthetician, so she started her own esthetician business at the time too. So so she was booking calls, but at the same time she's doing like the lashes and such in our apartment. So that's what she was doing at the time. So
she's probably doing lashes as she's taking a call.
No, she would pause, take the call, book the lead. Like that's what we're doing. I mean, at the beginning,
cool.
you do whatever it takes. That's the mindset, whatever it takes. And from there, we've 2 months in, I ended up closing. I think I did like 60 grand my first month in revenue. I remember going, this is so funny. I went to the distributor to make an account. I said, I'm launching a company. They're like, oh, just another guy. And I kept going back in. They're like, give me a sales guy. He wouldn't respond back to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sell equipment. And eventually he called me and we signed up. And it was a week before they stopped taking on new dealers because of COVID, because there were supply chain issues there. So they weren't going to take on new business at the time. But I found at the counter, I took a presentation pamphlet of like what equipment they sell. And that was my sales presentation book. I literally took off the distributor, went to homeowner's house. I was using the booklet, started closing deals, and taught myself how to sell, handle objections. And from there, 2 months in, who I hired to do my marketing, we ended up chatting. We're like, why don't we just partner together? I'm like, dude, I got nothing to lose. Like this guy's seen other companies scale. So from there we partnered to where we have now.
Who offered the partnership idea?
He came to me. Yeah.
He said, hey, I'll scale you, I'll grow you.
Well, he said, well, we could
do
this together. Yeah. And at the time you got to understand. So I didn't know how to read a P&L sheet 2020. I didn't know how to recruit. I didn't know how to do sales. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know what business meant. I thought I did, but I didn't.
You were a good technician. You knew the trade. You knew the industry.
Yeah.
But you didn't really know how to run and scale a business. You didn't have any employees when you offered.
I was just me.
It was just you. Wow. Okay.
So after we partnered, we just started recruiting. We started scaling the business.
I feel like one of the hardest things for people who want to start a business but don't is just having a map or like a roadmap in their mind of like where they are now and what steps they need to take to actually start the business. And I feel like a very common thing that you see in a lot of entrepreneurs is they don't think, they just do, they take action. And it almost sounds like, from what you're saying, that you didn't have a concrete plan. You're like, hey, this is what we're going to try and do. And then you just kind of created the plan as you were going along with it.
No, I think I would talk myself out of it if I knew what it took, right? So the real thing is that's what makes you an entrepreneur, is like that vision, that little bit, and you get there and you just keep seeing more and more. That's what makes it alive, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So that's what keeps it going.
David, I see business and marriage is very similar, because when people that marry young, and you're one of them, I was one of them. When you marry young, you don't think about all the problems that's going to create, where are we going to get money, where we're going to, because people that are older, 30, 35, they're already thinking, how are we going to pay for the college tuition for our kids? How are we going to do this? How are we going to buy a home? How are we going to, I had none of these questions. I fell in love with my future wife. We're like, let's do it. We want to be together. What does it take for us to be together? We have to
I
get
view
married.
it as like that's part of the journey, is to figuring it out. That's what I thought. That's what marriage was. That you figure it out along the way.
Same thing
Yeah.
with business.
Yeah.
That's why you at 23 or 22 years old, you don't think about all the complications and everything it takes. You just jump in, you just hop in, and you go, and you're like, oh, accounting, I need insurance, I need bond, I need all that stuff. So it's very similar. This is why obviously the failure rate of business is so high. But the drive, the initiative to actually go and open that business while you're young is much higher than when you're 30, 35, 40, right?
No, I would agree. Most people are risk adverse. The older you get, you start to see why
Exactly.
it won't work versus how it could work. You start to view life of like what's left versus like, oh, I'm limited, versus like at a younger age you're viewing it as like, wow, I have so much time. Like you're viewing it as opportunity for like, that's what happens.
Okay. Well, Sam, so you opened the business in 2020. It's been 5-6 years.
5.5 years, yeah.
5.5. How was your growth like? The first year, you partnered with the guy. What was your first year, second year, and so on?
Yeah, so if you're talking about revenue wise,
Yes.
I mean, and location wise, first 8 months we did 1.8 million, and then the following year we did 5.5 million. The following year after that we went to 10.8 million. And then the year after that, at the end of the day, we realized revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. So our margins were slim at 10 million. So we focused on getting profitable. So we went from 10 million to 18 million, but more than tripled our profit. And then from 18 million last year, we finished at 38.5 million.
More than double.
Yeah. And then this year we're pacing for 70 million growth strategy.
And potentially you're going to finish at around 350 employees by the end of the year.
Oh, no, we'll probably be closer to 400.
Wow.
Yeah. Just so you have to understand, we're scaling so fast. Like the run rate, if we were to stop growing next year with the size we're at now, we do over, like right now, the run rate where we're at today, we're about a $105 million run rate company just because of the revenue growth. Next, but we're going to be pacing for about 120, 130 next year in revenue.
Wow.
Now, there's a lot to dive into with that, but I want to go back to Ben.
Yeah.
Let's hear your story. So how did you start? What was the situation like? Take us back to those early moments. And yeah.
Oh boy. Sometimes it just feels like a blur. It's like hard to remember it all because those early years, they all just blend together. But as I was saying earlier in the beginning, I remember, it all really started with that devotional. And I do believe that, similar to Sam, it's like, this is all tied to purpose. And I don't think things happen by accidents or coincidences. So I do think there's a reason why we're called to do this. And I think that's to steward this. But those early days, it was, after that devotional point where I felt like it was black and white, like do this, that's when, similar to Sam, I jumped in. I actually drove down to Portland to buy my first van because I found a really good deal. I was like, we got to get this thing going. Got back, outfitted it, and then I just started trying to do everything I can to generate business. And, it was at that point, like I said, I knew the commercial world, so I started door knocking from restaurants to gas stations to whatever you could.
And this is during COVID.
This is during COVID.
Right. And people aren't exactly super excited about getting all close and personal with door knockers, right?
So that's the crazy thing is, nobody wants to talk to me.
Did you wear a mask?
No.
Maybe that's the problem.
Well,
Yeah, no mask in Seattle during COVID.
so that's the thing, guys. I'm a little south of Seattle, and there's a lot of people that didn't believe in that. So it actually worked out in my favor.
I see.
And I remember, like, one of my first commercial customers that I landed, I walked into his bar, and I had an American flag on my uniform. And I was basically coming after this guy for weeks trying to get his business. And he was just like, oh, I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. And then one time I walked in and I caught him with his wife. And she saw the flag and she's like, hell yeah, brother. Those were her exact words. And from there, she's like, whatever you need, like, we're going to start working with you. And then it was just like gaining momentum and getting customer after customer.
And that commercial customer that you got, was it just like maintenance? Was it servicing their HVAC? Was it a replacement? What was that first job?
It was service and maintenance. So that's what it was on the commercial side. And then what I started to learn really quickly was that commercial is very demanding. It was like any time that because I was firstly basically engaged at that point. So, we're trying to hang out, do this and that. And then on Saturday or Sunday, if I'm trying to do something at 7, 8 o'clock, my phone is going nuts. And I'm getting blown up. And I'm like, everybody's like, where are you at? I need you to come here now. So I have to drop everything and run, So then I started.
And you're dropping things because something like an HVAC unit went out or something
Well,
like
it's
that.
emergency.
It's
If
emergency.
If it's a restaurant,
Refrigeration, yeah.
Got it.
they can't exist.
Your food. They don't want food spoilage.
So it's tens of thousands of dollars, of product they're about to lose here. So you have to be there now. So I'm like, well, I don't know how well this is going to work out if I, want this time in my life while also trying to scale this business. And I'm like, how can I do this in a better way? And at that point, he had just started the marketing thing, and generating leads. And I'm like, how is that working out for you? He's like, give it a shot, see what happens,
Same company?
Same company, Systemized, yeah. So then I signed up with Systemized and quickly had to find out how to schedule these leads while doing these service calls and then schedule them and sell them. And I was calling him. I'm like, how are you making these work? Because half the time people aren't there at the appointments. And then, or if you're trying to get there and they're like, I never scheduled this, and they're cussing you out for showing you up. And I'm like, what do you do here? Like, what's this process like? And then slowly but surely got one system sold, and then another one, and then got the momentum. And as I started to be able to make more of these sales happen, I started to drop off the commercial side because then this wasn't as demanding. I could do this, Monday through Friday, install, and move on.
You could create and set your own schedule.
Correct. That's how it
Right,
happened.
but starting a business is losing freedom.
I think I was naive. Kind of like what you were saying earlier. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought I could have more time. No. That was not it at all.
Say bye-bye to free time.
That's exactly what happened those first 3 years.
So the first year you were mostly focusing on commercial,
Correct.
and is it the second year you switched to residential?
That's it. So the first year was 2020, basically halfway through, like March to end. So focused on commercial, and then the year after is when I started to pursue residential work.
Why do you think residential was more lucrative for you, or was it lucrative at all? Besides the scheduling, I understand that.
So the scheduling was a huge part of it, but the predictability, I would say, was another one. The service was very demanding. Like, it was like you had to be here now. With the the residential installations, it was like I was able to basically kind of predict my schedule, and then once I would be able to make a few sales, install, it was more consistent revenue. Just for example, like when I was by myself doing service, like I had a very hard time breaking like 30 to 45K in revenue. And then with 3 installs a week, that's 12 installs a month. I think something like that was probably like 100 something, in revenue. So it was like, okay, I can do this a lot faster and make more money doing this.
And when you signed on a commercial company, was it like a retainer? Did they pay you every time you came out? What did that look like?
I didn't even know what that 30 was. And
Sam,
I was
he's
trying
smiling. Why are you smiling?
Because your biggest deficit when you're scaling your company, especially new, is cash flow. And what do these commercial clients want? They want net 30, net 45, net 60. Resi, you get paid on the spot. So what happens? You get to take the capital, dump it back into marketing, and speed that puppy up. Commercial, you're always 30. You have a lag time, unless you have an influx of capital. And the other aspect to it, I would say, you could probably agree with this, Residential, you're selling on emotion. Commercial, you're selling strictly on price.
Right. They have lots of different other contractors they can.
It's
get
all about
bids.
price. It comes down to they want the best price, especially when you're starting off new. You're competitive. Yeah, I'm going to do it for the price, but then you end up not getting paid. It's a chasing of receivables.
That's it.
There's so many more other pinpoints that you can tackle while selling to residential. We're the best. You're gonna get the best quality equipment. You're gonna get the best warranty. We have the best customer service, and so on. On the commercial side, they'll tell you, "Hey, stop BSing me." It's
Yeah, what's the number?
Come on, guys, give me the number.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, there's so much more opportunity and room, to get that better profit margin on the residential, and you get paid instantly.
But I know people that are doing really well. They're doing really well on
the commercial side.
It just takes a longer time. So it all depends what you're really, I know people doing 50-50 and they're doing really well. I just like I think simplicity creates speed wins. And
yeah, you double down on what you know that works well, and you just go all in that section, and that's it. But you didn't go all in. You have a different business that we want to talk about.
I would say I'm pretty all in.
well, I know, but it's two different businesses.
Yeah, same model though.
It's cross-sell opportunity, because if you're servicing somebody, you could sell your other service.
Yeah, but we're not.
You're not.
Nope. Straight up lead genning its own business and everything.
Okay. Different name.
Tell us
Okay,
about business number 2.
So business number 2, which we do is we do floor coatings. That one is a pretty cool story. I had one friend of mine at the time called me, and he's like, "Man, I'm struggling. His business is going downhill." He asked me to, met him for tea. I said, "Let me review your numbers." Start reviewing. I said, "Yeah, this business." I said, "You ain't gonna turn this thing around. You're bleeding so much cash, and it's so complex. The whole model is complex. It's too custom, right? People pride themselves on custom work." I said, "Do you need simplicity and scales?" And at the time, I already had this vision. I was like, "Man, if I were to do anything else, I'd do this floor coatings." I already had the brand name and everything, vision. And I said, "Dude, I can't help you with this business, but I have a business idea that, partner with you to help scale it. And I know it's going to work, but you have to listen to me."
Wow.
And we'll scale this thing big. The first 2 years are going to be a little bit rough, but I tell you, it's going to free up if you listen to me. The key thing here is listen. And we did it. So he had, I think it was
What was his business before?
painting and tile.
It seems like a weird combo.
Well, so he did tile work, and then he was a painter before that, so he'd pick up painting work.
I mean, that's two different trades.
Yeah.
I know it's construction, but
Yeah,
It's
regardless, he tried. The whole point is it wasn't taking off. It wasn't scalable at the time.
in Pennsylvania, he's local.
Yeah. So then from day one, we bolted on the same essentially model, and we scaled that thing. We're up to 95, 100 employees there now. We're pacing to do, I think, we started literally 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. We're going to do 15 million, just under 15 million this year there. With the run rate probably like 25 million right now. So.
What made you go into floor coating? And for anybody who doesn't understand what that is, just give us a quick 10, 15.
Yeah, so we just we grind the floor like garages, patios, pools. We grind it down to concrete, and then you put a base layer, you flake it. You fill the cracks before that, and then you put a base layer, you flake it, you scrape the flakes, you put a clear on it. It's like it's a finish. It's a good finish for pools, patios,
Is it like
and basements.
epoxy based?
It's like epoxy, but epoxy. This is a 1-day solution. Epoxy, you usually have to wait longer, so it's a little bit stronger. It bonds to the concrete better. People think it's epoxy. It's called polyspartic, really what it is.
Okay.
And your reason why you ask why I thought of it, well, I don't view myself as a HVAC contractor. I don't view myself as a floor painter. I view myself as a sales and marketing guy, or a sales and marketing company that just happens to do HVAC. Sales and marketing company that happens to do floors. So what I was looking at, what's duplicatable, scalable, that could get done in 1 day, and that was just one of the many ideas I had that actually came to fruition. It was a way for me to test that, hey, my thought does work. So now the goal is like, how do I scale this across, different industries and nationwide company? That's kind of like the big vision.
So it's following exactly the same model as your HVAC business.
Yeah.
You've got leads coming in, you've got schedulers, you've got salespeople, and you've got contractors.
You keep it, well, it's all in-house.
All in-house.
Yeah, so we keep it, the easiest way for me to explain it is we call it basic.
Basic.
I call it basic. So the
Okay.
B is you book the appointment. The A is you assign the appointment. The S is you sell it. The I is you install it. And C is you collect it. Keep it basic. That's all you gotta do in the business.
Where did you learn this?
It's a great question. So when I started out my company,
He knew you didn't come up with it yourself.
Yeah, I mean-
He's like,
No,
Sam is not that smart to come up with it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
what makes a great leader and someone successful is not the one that knows it all.
It's one who implements it and executes.
Not even that. He knows where to get the answers and how to implement it. So it's both. But what I learned is in the beginning, I was looking at other contractors. I actually flew to LA to DM the guy. I was DMing people on Facebook, Instagram, like, hey, can I tour your company? And one guy was scaling fast as well. He's like, yeah, come on over. And he sat us in a room. It was me and my partner Lau, and he just went through. He's like, oh, that's where I learned like how to. I didn't understand what he was explaining as cash flow, but he was telling me when to grow and such. And that's one thing he left me with on the board. He's like, whatever's going on in your company, focus on these right here, this area. No matter what, just focus on keep it this simple.
Okay. So that company, you don't know the guy. You just DM'd him and he said, yeah, come in.
At the time, I was hungry. I wanted to learn, so I was DMing tons of people.
I mean, this is awesome. This is probably second or third example of someone sharing that. The other one was Ruben with T-shirts when he actually DM'd 10, 15 companies and one company in LA, by the way, in LA. I guess LA has good people. He said, yeah, fly in. He's like, I'll work for you for a week for free. I just want to see your systems and processes and just overall the operations. And one guy said, sure, fly in. So this is another example where people are open to actually open up maybe their trade secrets, maybe their kind of systems and share with somebody. So it's another example why it's okay to go and knock on some doors and say, hey, can you help me? I'm struggling with this. I'm looking for help. I'm trying to improve. I don't know how to.
The key, though, a lot of people miss here. They think that they're going to go there and they're just going to get everything, sit there and you're going to tell them step by step, step 1, step 2, step 3 to get into it. It's not the case. I mean, what I learned is I took my big vision, and what I did is when I was there, I created faith. I started to see how things was like, wow, it is possible. I could do this. I started to take my vision and actually make it more reverse
believable.
engineering. Yeah, believable. I was like, oh, I could do this. This is how I get here. I remember seeing all the equipment. I was like, oh, so you got to store a lot of it. Oh, okay, this is, and I didn't understand all his system and process. And quite frank, if he gave it to me, I would have been burnt out. I would have been overloaded. And that's some people take too much information without application, and then what happens is there's no transformation. So,
But your capacity is limited.
Yeah.
So when you know, let's say 20, 30% of the systems and processes and business itself of the trade, of specific trade, your capacity to consume and understand that information is different. Versus if you go right now to the same warehouse or same company, you're going to see other things that you've never noticed before. Correct. And you'll understand, oh, okay, so you have this, because you already know the business so much more. You probably know 95%. Or maybe 100, I don't know.
No. That's the key. There's things are evolving, changing, things you can do better. I'm always learning. How can I improve?
This is awesome. I see a pattern here. I see a service-based business that is replicable.
Replicable, yeah.
I mean, another thing I forgot to add. Well, you're asking when I was started. I'm thinking this thought came through. I used to work when I was 16. I got a job at McDonald's.
Okay.
So I learned every aspect of McDonald's, from training to working the line to order taking, drive through, all that.
How long you worked?
I worked there for 2 years.
Wow.
Right.
Did you make it to manager?
No, I didn't make it to manager.
Flipping?
I was flipping the bird. I had all the thing. But what's pretty funny is like when I'm developing systems and processes, or along the way, what I was developing a lot and even developing now, I always revert myself. Working the line at McDonald's, how did I know how to make a burger so simply? And that's how I would take my system and processes, how I set up our warehouse flow, like the way there's certain ways that things are being pulled, there's certain places things are at in a way, where equipment's at versus this part, high moving, less moving. Like these are all concepts that they'll teach you, and you take high level courses of procurement, of supply chain, all these different sectors of operations. You'll learn this. For me, I didn't learn it that I learned it by going picture myself at McDonald's and realize if they did it, there's a reason why they did all the studies. I didn't really care why they learned it. I just knew that they cared about it being a certain way. And I always picture myself doing that while I'm building out systems and processes. And to this day, I mean, there's so many things we've created off the McDonald's model. So.
It's so interesting you say that, because one thing that comes to mind when you mention McDonald's is the movie The Founder,
Yep.
right? And there was this moment where the guy goes up, I think it's Ray Kroc is his name, and he's like, you don't get it. You're not in the restaurant business. You're in the real estate business. And that resonates with me as it pertains to you guys, because you guys aren't necessarily in the HVAC business. You're in the marketing and sales business, right? And like that's the foundational skill set that allows you to operate in HVAC. And Sam, you're able to take that same skill set and just start replicating it to another vertical or another business. Now you're doing floor coatings. What I'm curious about is like, you start off working at McDonald's. Ben, you start off just doing HVAC, commercial. Where did the sales and marketing skills come from? How did you get them?
School of Hard Knocks. I think I'm a big believer of just getting the reps in at this point. Like anything you do, when you do it for the first time, you're going to suck, right? So then you have to just, in my opinion, and this is just what worked for me, is just like get the suck over with. Do it enough times until you get better. If you have enough repetitions, you're going to get better, or you're going to quit. But that's a choice.
But you have to have a starting point, right? Because I feel like there's so many people I know, they're busy, they're spinning their wheels, but they're not getting traction. They're not actually learning. They're doing repetitions, but they're doing the same thing wrong.
And are you talking about sales specifically?
Sales and marketing, either one.
So, and another thing to add to what he's asking is, when they do get better, they think that they reached that ceiling. Let's go into some numbers. Let's do canvassing, or leads that come from canvassing. Let's assume there's about 25% close rate from the leads that come from a specific channel, and all of a sudden it's profitable already. How do you know how far can you push? So you say, oh, I'm a great salesman. I close 15% of all the leads come in. We're crushing it. We're making great. And there's so many companies that are out there that exist, your competitors, that are mediocre. They're doing okay, but they're not scaling as you're scaling. How do you know what number is the perfect number?
For close rate, are you asking?
For close rate, for example.
Or maybe not perfect, but like, how do you know what number is a good number?
Doesn't matter which metric in business, but there's so many metrics that you're achieving. How do you know what's a perfect 100% score?
To me, I view it as business is a big math equation. So at the end of the day, it's there's a certain that you need at the top, and a certain thing that you need to be left. There's got to be left over, and then you're able to delegate. Let's say you understand. Like to me, understand marketing is the fuel. Like I have a vehicle, which is the company of the services, but the fuel to make that company run is advertising. It's marketing.
Right, but you have to close.
Yeah. So listen, what I was getting to is like when you dump that into it, right?
Right.
Dump fuel. So my natural thought is if I can create room across the math equation so I can put more fuel in it so I can go further, I'll get further. So along the way, you're asking then you start measuring in each area how it affects each department affects a line item essentially in the math equation. So reverse engineering, what you do is I'm not the best salesman. What you do is you end up hiring better talent. So at the end of the day, like if I wanted to be a perfect sales manager or sales trainer, that'd be a different career for me. But there's people out there that are good at that. They have the skills and talents. So that's what we do is like hire people for that skill and talent. So what we do is we bring on managers. We bring on a sales trainer that's consistently training.
From other companies?
Yeah, you take it from other companies. Actually, yeah, most of our managers, yeah, we literally hire from other people that already invested into them. And what you're able to do then is, create this, You got to have this inflow of recruitment. Like you're bringing in people. Some people are going to do really good. Some people don't make the training. You're you're consistently pruning, top grading, I should say, is really the word, so that your talent has this standard that they're keeping, and that's how we keep the numbers in line in the math equation to make sure there's money left over at the bottom. And you're reinvesting, and before you know it, that dollar grows bigger and bigger and bigger, so you can reinvest bigger, which creates speed, and then you can spend more and more in marketing, and you end up taking more market share.
So if advertising is the fuel, what do you consider marketing to be within that?
Advertising, marketing.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
same
the
thing.
Same thing.
A sales is the vehicle, and the
Sales-
vehicle, how fast can it go? So you can be dumping
How
all
fast
that
and how
fuel.
far?
How fast and far, I guess. True. When you reach 70, 150, 200, 500 million, how
Yeah,
far
that's what
can
happened.
it
We
go?
got one market share, and they're like, okay, like lead costs started going up higher. It started getting more expensive, or the returns became diminishing. Right? If I invest my X amount of time or X amount of dollars, I only get X amount of return. But if I take it to a new location, I could put the same amount of time, money, energy, resources in it, and I could 10x, 100x it. Right? And that's what we found our sweet spot is. That's why we're launching locations. Because there's a maturity point of a business, a new startup. We're greenfielding all these. So there's a phase for these businesses to mature up till you can start taking it. You can't, day one, start spending like it's a $20, $30 million location. Leadership needs to mature in that location, staffing, processes, market share, market branding in that area. There's certain things that you can't speed up. So we let it mature. While it's maturing, we're already launching another location. And that's what's allowing us to scale really, really quickly because we understand the math equation. We understand the data.
Does it cost a lot of money to open a location?
It's roughly like $1 million in investment at least.
And you're not taking any outside capital to
No,
scale?
we're funding it with the company.
You're funding with actually the cash flow.
Cash flow and lines of credit.
Which banks would give lines of credit? Is it commercial banks?
Business banking. Business
banking, local?
No, I use
Is it like
credit card. A lot of credit cards. So I've worked with Amex. I think the other one's Ramp. We got a line of credit, and then and a couple banks in I think Chicago or something.
So guys like Ramp?
Oh, I got Ramp. Yeah, Ramp just gave us a pretty hefty line of credit.
Well, that's interesting. I thought they're mostly like marketing type of companies and startups.
You gotta just sell yourself. Like, dude, if you sell yourself, to be honest, that you could spend this money. Most people talk a big talk, and they don't have the action to prove it up. But if you truly show them, like numbers don't lie, people do, right? That's what they say. Cash don't lie, people do. Dude, if you have a good relationship, you can talk to the right people. Like you can actually make your way up because you sell them the vision. They want to give you money. These banks are in a business. They want to give, but they want to make sure that they actually see a return on it.
How does geography play into this? Because you guys operate in completely separate markets.
Well, I think Sam is more lucky being on the East Coast, and Pennsylvania sounds like a market that is not too competitive versus Seattle is a tough market. And this could be a reason why he's not scaling as fast as you.
I think it's Pennsylvania. If you look at the data, it's one of the highest cost per leads.
Really?
So it's one of the hardest things if you're looking from
Why is it?
We have a lot of mom and pop, and there's a lot of it's small town, so everyone trusts the small people.
But
so
do they advertise?
Do they advertise?
On Meta?
And then now what you have is bigger shops coming in and advertising. You're having a lot of people interested in the small shops, and then the bigger companies coming in, acquisition is popular right now. They're spending the money, so it's increasing the lead cost. Yeah, I think that's part of it as well.
Well, another reason, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the Facebook expert, but population density plays a role in the cost of acquisition. The more people search, the more traffic, the search velocity is higher for the specific keyword, the cheaper it's going to be.
It's usually closer to the cities, right?
Yeah.
When you're closer to the cities.
So for you guys, what channels do you use to advertise to generate leads? Is it Meta, YouTube,
YouTube,
search,
TikTok?
Pretty much everything.
pretty much everything? What are your favorites? Like, what is your go-to? Like, if you had a preference over everything else?
I don't think it's a preference of one over the other. It's whatever. How can I generate the amount of leads that I need, and how do I get there?
But I feel like a TikTok lead versus a Google search lead, like not all leads are created equal, right? Like there's
if I get in the
costs,
door,
and then
if
there's
I get in the
different
door, it don't matter to me. And what's the most I could spend in that platform?
I was just gonna say, I don't think it matters about the quality of the lead. It matters what you do with the lead. If you get the lead, are you able to book it, and are you able to sell it? That's
So on that note, are there certain channels for you, Ben, in the greater Seattle area where the conversions are lower?
Oh yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is we use Angie's and Thumbtack, and sometimes there's seasons where they just suck, you know, and there's times where they do really well. It just depends, and it's like you have to pretty much watch it all and just see what does better and divert budget as you need to.
So if it's interesting you say that Angie's and Thumbtack, how do you think about just outsourcing your advertising and like lead generation to Angie's and Thumbtack versus just doing it solo yourself with Google My Business profiles or running your own meta ads?
It's a great question. I don't I'm not an expert in marketing. You know, I know enough to make decisions based off how many leads we're generating and booking and if we're getting a return on investment, you know. I don't care to be the one to actually do that because I have a business I'm trying to run and scale. So it's like I can only do a certain number of things in a day. So I'm going to basically delegate those things out. That's my take on it.
What's your strong suit? Is it operations, running, hiring?
That's another
What's
great
your
question.
day-to-day activity look like?
Right now, I think I pretty much act, I would say, as like the general manager, you could say, or CEO, essentially.
CEO, okay.
So my day-to-day is really just making sure that everything is flowing. And if it's not, where did it stop flowing? Do we have leads? Are we running opportunities? If not, why not? If we have the opportunities and we're running them, are we selling them? If not, why not? You know, and if we're installing them, let's make sure we continue installing them, doing it well, good enough job, so we're getting good reviews and we're getting more repeating customers, basically.
Okay. So you do rely on customer long time value, right?
Yes, I want those referrals as much as I can. I mean,
Because that brings you customers for free, essentially, already.
well, and I'm willing to pay for referrals. So like anybody that's done work with us, hey, you know, we giving you an X amount of bonus if you have somebody that is looking for a HVAC system.
Still, it's less than new customer acquisition
Correct.
cost. And just
It's a high probability.
What does a referral program look like in HVAC? Like, if you don't mind sharing the actual details of that. Like, if I'm a customer and you're about to do my HVAC system, what does that look like?
Ours is very basic. To be honest, there's lots of room for improvement. But essentially, it's like, hey, David, you know, were you happy with your experience with Essential?
Yes.
And then, okay,
Right.
if the answer is yes, would you be willing to refer us to a friend or family member that would be in need? If the answer is yes, okay, well, we're going to make it worth your while. You know, we'll pay you, like right now, I think current spiff is about $300 to $500, essentially, depending on the type of system. So
And is that like a Cash App? Is that like an Amazon gift card? Like, what is that?
it's traditionally been in the form of a gift card.
A gift card?
Yep.
Got it. And like just a Visa gift card?
gift
or like
card for
wherever?
essential heating.
Okay.
And bro, you got to do whatever it takes. That's at our last sales meeting, the guys have been making fun of me because I'm like, remember WIT, whatever it takes. Because right now it's rough. You know, you guys are in a very similar market where there's no weather. It's not hot. It's not cold. Nobody cares about heating and cooling. So we have to do whatever it takes to win every single customer every single day. It's just about controlling everything you can control on a daily basis and repeating that. And they have their own deviation. I said whatever it takes. They said whatever it effing takes, you know?
Nice. And so greater Seattle area, a lot of the energy that's consumed comes from hydro in that area, if I'm not mistaken. It's also pretty progressive. I feel like Pennsylvania is more split, especially where you're at. Have you tried to structure your business around all the different subsidies that are available? And how's that worked? Has it come back to bite you? Because I know with HVAC systems, there's a huge push to get everybody on electric, get off of natural gas, get on electric.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, you take advantage of the opportunities that are out there, you know? We had a huge push last year that was about going green. We really rode that and used that to be able to grow and scale. You know?
And was that city, county, state, federal level? Like break that down.
That was
Probably state.
it wasn't necessarily state. It really follows on the energy provider. So depending on where you live, you'll have different areas essentially that qualify for different things. So it gets very tricky, you know, trying to handle that. But then you have to have the office support it essentially.
Do you guys have tax credits too?
Yes, but we never sold on tax credits. We always do.
Interesting. So it's being pushed by
The utility.
Yep.
And
by
what's
utilities being pushed by the feds.
And the
Federal.
best part about utilities, any kind of issue comes in, homeowners calling them, they say, contact your contractor.
So you're out of Auburn, Washington. What's the local utility? Is it Seattle City and Light?
We have a few different municipalities. The biggest
Okay.
one is going to be Puget Sound Energy.
Puget Sound Energy. Because my background is electrical engineering, specifically power systems. So
This is your world.
I spend a lot of time with it. And so what'll often happen is, like, let's take PGE, for example, across the river in Portland. They look at what their goals are, where they can get funding from, both at the municipal level, and they look at their customer base, and they'll try and align themselves with whatever the utility needs in order to grow to meet the power needs of the people. And for them, it's interesting because if you look at like the energy usage over time, before AI became a craze, like rewind like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, for the first time in U.S. history, the average household, like the electrical usage, like it decreased because people kept adding more refrigerators, bigger square footage. They added a second fridge in the garage, HVAC systems. Everybody wants air conditioning. But then once we peaked out, then there was all these initiatives coming from local utilities to try and become more energy efficient, because what's more efficient for them isn't to build more transmission lines, bigger transmission lines, more power distribution. It's how do we get people to consume less, get the same lifestyle, but just cost less. And I feel like
Do they actually want people to consume less?
absolutely.
Why is that? They make more money when they.
Not necessarily. So if you look at your bill, a large part of your bill isn't even the energy usage. It's actually you're basically paying for the entire grid. So you're paying for the wire itself and the transmission lines to come to your
So
house.
they care about volume, not the usage. Volume of
Well, it
people.
seems like they're
Quantity
trying to
of-
create bigger margins, so then they can essentially now build more houses without adding more lines.
potentially.
They could serve more people.
more
keeping
people, less energy.
less energy.
Makes
more-
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, let's say I'm connected to the local utility. If I use less energy, that allows them to take more of the energy and push it to a growing market. So you've got Intel and Nike out in Hillsboro, and they keep building new substations to try and service those expansions. When they were building D1X at Intel, they had to build new substations, and they had to get more energy online to simply just service that amount of electrical load. And so there's a lot of games that the utilities play, but some of it comes back to bite you as a contractor. I remember we were speaking a couple months ago. There's a huge push. There's all these subsidies. And then what happens is the homeowner makes a decision on the temporary rates going from natural gas to electric. But the rates of natural gas, the cost of natural gas fluctuates, and the cost of electricity fluctuates. Unpack that, because I see you smiling.
I mean, that's just customer service. You know, at the end of the day, you pick up the phone, you're listening to what they have to say, hearing them out, and that was a real thing, bro. Like,
Give us an example, because what I'm thinking of is you have a huge push from the local utilities
you're referring to the unsatisfied customers after the fact, correct?
after the fact because their prices went up instead of down as they were expecting.
There's certain customers that like they went up, but it wasn't marginally, and then we just basically had to dissect those customers when that happened. Like, what actually happened? Was it the equipment that we installed? No, it was your energy usage. Okay, are we in charge of that? No, I'm sorry. You know, like there's things out of our control. They had this huge initiative that they pushed to save. The homeowners would save money on the initial install, but then they changed the rates. So it's like that's out of our control, and it's just being transparent with the customer and explaining that.
Right.
And
How?
Did you have a lot of those customers?
probably more than I wanted. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. You-
Just
One thing-
they loaded up your call center.
Yes, sir. I will tell you this. You know, people don't call you when things are going well. They'll call you when things are going bad. And anytime there's, and you know this, you know, anytime when anybody has any type of issue in the service business where you're servicing the customer and taking care of them, they're going to let you know real quick, and you have to be able to take care of them.
How do you think about installing HVAC systems, these units that are going to operate for 10, 15, 20 years, depending, right? When the nature of energy in the United States is changing. Maybe I'm getting a little too in the weeds, like on geopolitics and economics and stuff. But to me, I'm thinking like with the advent of AI and the price of AI ultimately converges down to the price of energy. So whoever can get the cheapest energy with the most amount of processing power is going to win. And you're like the expectations and like predictions of the cost of electricity is only going up because of this massive demand to go towards these AI data centers. Are you guys factoring that in at all when you're talking to customers for HVAC systems?
You can only control what you control. Like you can't sit here and try to kind of think at that level when you're dealing with a homeowner and they need heating and cooling. At the end of the day, we have a certain product line that we could push, Like we can talk about the future, but we're dealing with the reality of today. And we have to make a decision based on the resources, the tools, what's given us today. At the end of the day, like we just had a refrigerant change. We had equipment. Like every year we've been having changes.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. Like it's like saying like, are you concerned with these electric cars coming? They're not here yet fully. Flying cars, whatever you want to call it. Like we're not there yet. Yeah, we'll deal with it when we get there. And I think at the end of the day, you could drown yourself in the worry and the fear of, or you could win in the reality and the potential of what we have today, and that's what we're doing.
That's good.
And I think the demand for services like HVAC is not going away anytime soon, because residential homes, which is their primary customer, is here to stay. And yes, systems will improve, systems will change, power sources will likely, change as we move on in the future, but in the short term and medium term, I don't see.
And to be honest, I think that's another like mindset that limits a lot of people. They have that fear of. They're trying to make decisions, even running their business or running their life, whatever, out of certainty. Well, nothing is certain in life. Matter of fact, you leave here, you're not certain. What matters in life is what's the highest probability. So how can I increase my probability of success, or for this to work, for this to flow, for this to happen? And I'm going to follow the probability. And guess what happens? When you follow probability, you end up winning. There's a higher probability of winning. If you're looking at certainty, you start making decisions where you should have risked it, where you shouldn't. Like you start making certain, and what happens? You basically become locked in, and you're like tensed. So my mindset, if I could picture out my vision, how I'm scaling into one picture frame for you, is very simple. There's two ways you can run your business. It could be like a river that's flowing, or like a pond, right? And the way I view it is most people, they just look at the pond. What happens with the water? It turns stale, green, yucky. It's disgusting. But like a river, it's flowing, and it's flowing. And what happens? Sticks come in the way, right? And you have two options. You can grab on and hold on to the stick and try to. And you're talking about the stick got in the way. This is what, like, thinking like a victim. I'm gonna climb out to the side. Like they climb to the side. They're watching the view. They're watching like what it could be, right? Or you could just adapt, dodge the sticks, flow through and wherever I see in my business or my areas or operations, wherever it's that there's a dam built up, meaning too many sticks clogged up. The people start thinking in this place of why it doesn't work. We start, challenging the thoughts, the processes. How do we break open that dam to keep it flowing? Because what worked today, what got us here, might not necessarily get us there. What got us here might not help us get to the next level. That's whether staffing, people, processes, systems, strategies, whatever you want to call it. Like things have to change.
And you have to be open to change.
Yeah.
Be flexible.
Only thing constant is change. If I could tell you one thing that's constant in growth, it's change.
Okay.
When you asked that question, the first thing that came to my mind was progress over perfection, right? And that was something that had to be broken off of me in this journey. I was like, you're laughing because it's true. Like I used to be more of a perfectionist. Like everything had to be dialed before I could do the next step or whatever. Like I tried to have that plan that you were talking about in the beginning, and come to find out, it's just you can have this perfect plan, or you can just do it and make progress. But it's like if you're trying to really make progress, you can't have a perfect plan. If that makes sense. And I'll take progress over perfection any day at this point.
But what I would say though is when you think about a plan, it's not necessarily that you have to have a set of instructions. If you look at your position now and you look back, you see the route that you took on the map. You see I went from here to there. Sometimes you backtrack. And there was a sequence of steps that you took to get to where you're at. And I think where a lot of people struggle is they don't have the right recipe, whether it's their mentality, whether it's their network, whether it's just their surrounding. A lot of people are missing something to be able to just break away from that 9 to 5, from that just, steady Eddie type of job where they do want to be entrepreneurs. And you guys both did that, ironically around the same time, ironically in the same industry, without even knowing each other. What do you think most people are missing? The average guy who wants to be an entrepreneur and they're not.
I mean, I think more people. I think the other caveat to that is like is everyone supposed to be an entrepreneur? No. I think some people think they need to be an entrepreneur. They're actually better at being like a really high end executive or a manager or something. They just don't have it. And like you're trying to force someone to be something that they're not. And I think everyone could develop. I 100% agree. But I think another caveat, another reason too, is a lot of people do not renew their mind in how they think. They don't mature in the way that they think. What happens is they think in the form of a victim or in the form of life happening to them instead of they're viewing it like they get to do life. They view it as like, you know, you ever meet those people that all they see is problems? Well, that's the reality. Like to me, when I see a problem or a restriction or a limitation, I don't view it as a problem, limitation, or restriction. I view it like, man, that's an opportunity of growth. That's an opportunity of change. How do I dissolve that? That's a new,
like COVID.
That's a new creative way, right? The perception of that is how they think. Because how you think leads to what you do. What you do leads to the results. The results create whatever. The result becomes a new thought. And what happens if someone always thinks about problems, they just catapult this mindset of victimhood and everything's an issue in their life. But then the other thing, I think some people just don't. Some people are just. I have some people that are just really good at. You paint them the vision, they just feed off that and they start building off of it. If they were trying to build their own company, it wouldn't work well. They're in a bind. But you give them your vision, a little bit, a glimpse. This is where we're going. I need you to build this. They're integrators are
Right.
That's I think we're in this hype where everything's an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and then until you realize what it actually has.
Because everybody's trying to sell you their course on how to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
No, but David, I have an answer for your question. So a lot of people, what they're missing in life is a kick under their butt. It's that push. They're debating in their head. They're looking at all these potential problems. They don't know what the real business is, what they're gonna face, but they imagine a lot of these issues, and they're looking for reasons not to do it, and they're looking for reasons to do it, and they're just debating. And sometimes they need that push. I had one employee that started off really good, and then his performance really dropped. And then I see him parking somewhere on another lot. This was at the old office. And he's walking in the morning, and then after work, there was a little park, and I walked around with a lot of employees, and we talked outside during the summer. And I see him, at the end of the day, he would walk to the other lot. I'm like, this is suspicious. And then one time I saw he's driving a new car, a Porsche Panamera. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I take him for a walk. I love to do these walks outside and just chatting one-on-one with person, and people really open up. And he tells me, hey, I started this business on Amazon. It's doing really well. I'm actually making double the money working 2 hours a day on this thing versus here with you. And I'm listening, I'm understanding him. We talk, and I'm like, so what are we waiting? What is it you need? Is it the kick under your butt? And I'm like, okay, you can have it. So you're fired today. But I didn't really fire him. I just gave him what he was looking for.
You gave him almost permission.
I basically gave him like my blessing. Because what? I'm not gonna try to compete. He's making double. He's working 2 hours. There's potential. He just bought a new car, maybe not brand new, but like a really nice car. A car that he couldn't afford before, but all of a sudden he's driving. So a lot of people, they're just debating and sitting. Like, remember we talked to Paul. He was like in that comfort zone, and it's so soothing, and it's so good, and it's so warm in that comfort zone. But his mind is already there. He should be already crushing it and running his business, and he's not. So sometimes like you gotta
Just
help them and push them. Like, you need that push, here's the push. So that's what a lot of people are missing right now. Just hesitation. It's keeping them imprisoned in their comfort zone. I want to go back to that second business. And that's very interesting because sounds like using your systems, using your marketing. By the way, I want to clarify, the marketing team is the only thing that you guys are outsourcing, right?
Yeah. So marketing team, and then we outsource some like customer service. Like there are employees, but they're overseas. So
Okay.
we assist with that.
So that's fine. But the sales team is in house.
Yeah, everyone's W-2.
Sales is kind of the key. It's really the engine. If marketing is fuel, the engine is sales.
Sales and operations, because you can sell all you want, but if you can't fulfill on that sale,
I think that's the easier part. I think sales is the harder part.
Yeah.
So if sounds like you've got everything dialed in, and if you can jump into another trade, another business that is service-based business that is also scalable, and you can make it a success. So my question, if you would, let's say, sell top line and you would start all over, which industry would you go into? Which company would you open?
And you can't say HVAC again. You're like, I'm gonna do it again. Run it back turbo.
No. You can't.
do
No
it.
HVAC.
I mean, I would go to whatever is a simple product. I would test it with leads, advertising. What's my cost per lead? What's the demand? I just throw a couple grand in different markets,
Okay.
and I would just see what I can duplicate and do in one day. And if I could do it 10 times a day, 100 times a day, that's what I'd pick. And I think there's so many different avenues you can do. I mean, what's here? You could probably do flooring. You can do cabinets, custom cabinets. We can do repaints
But
in one day.
cabinets don't require service after new. Don't you rely on service? You don't. It's new installs.
New installs.
New installs.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much anything, any remodel type of a
Yeah, but I'd niche it. I'd niche it, right? If I was doing, I mean, I probably wouldn't do countertops because it's like a little too custom. I'd do something that I can duplicate, keep it simple.
Something you could train.
Yeah.
So flooring, painting, these kind of trades.
Yeah. Even like patio, like outdoor patios is probably one. Decking.
Fences.
Fences, another
Decking
one.
and fences.
Gutters, another one. I mean, you could do roofing too. I'm trying to think what else. Even like, I've never done low ticket ones, but like driveway seal coating. I feel like that's a reoccurring. That'd be an interesting one to tackle. Like you generate that customer and then you try to reseal them every year. That's a lead generating there. I mean, I think there's so much.
What about solar and pest control?
Pest control, yes.
Pest control, I mean,
Fits.
it's a really low dollar ticket. So I just know my skill set. I'm good with the tickets that are $5,000 plus. That's truly like my strength. Like that model requires a lot more. How do you take that customer? That's you view it lifetime value. You're focused on like, how do I, like you're betting on like not them spending $50 a month. You're betting on them spending X amount of time, which I'm sure that's another model I'd tackle. I just haven't done that. So I couldn't say my expertise. Solar, if it didn't have such a bad name, I think it could be a really good gig. It's just
Bad reputation.
It just seems like solar. I mean, you are driven by tax incentives, and it just has this. Homeowners have a really bad taste when you say solar. So
Yeah, there's a lot of door knockers, and it's like anytime you see a sales rep being able to walk away with like an $8,000-$10,000 check from a sale, it kind of raises your eyebrow. Like, wait a second, like what's actually going on here? How much
Yes.
value am I really getting from the service?
So I don't know that one too much, but I'd try to keep it simple though. If I were to choose something, I'll tell you this: my career would be simple. It's so simple that you might think it's not scalable. It's so simple that like, oh, this, let's say just doors, garage doors. That's another one. Just replacing garage doors. That's another gig. That would be kind of interesting.
Super scalable.
So let's choose that one, right? Let's just say you guys just partner together and like you have this strategy now on how to try and build a garage door install and service company from scratch. What would the first steps be? How would you try and structure it? At what rate would you try and hire a sales guy versus a technician versus a marketing guy or a service or customer service? Like what does that process look
Day
like?
one. You got to bring on 10 reps, 10 sales guys day one. You got to build about 3 to 5 install crews. Out of those 10 sales guys, half of them they're gonna do good, but half of them are not gonna be your closers. And then you got to launch ads day one. Start booking them.
What's the ratio of positions from one to another? For example, do you need like 2 sales guys per technician?
It depends on the revenue they're selling. Ideally, you want one sales guy can fill one crew, but what ends up happening, it's about 1.5 per crew.
So 1.5 salespeople per crew. And this is for HVAC.
Yeah.
right? And so how many jobs is one crew doing a day?
One, sometimes two in demand during the summer because we're weather enhanced, meaning when it's a little bit hotter outside than typical or a little colder, you lead cost drops down, volume goes up. So you're enhanced by the weather.
So if you were to average it out for the week, you'd say what, 6 jobs a week, 7 jobs a week
For what?
on HVAC
For a sales guy to sell?
for a service team, that they could actually do jobs accomplished.
Install? I'd say average is one a day, to be honest.
Okay.
Just 5 days,
So
five
five
installs.
a week, and then 1.5 sales guys. So if you had two, basically 3 sales guys could keep 2 crews running full time,
That'd be the
full
goal.
speed.
Sometimes you won't, though.
How much money do you think you need for that startup? That sounds like a lot of. So you're gonna hire 10 sales guys.
You're gonna need quite a bit in payroll. Like, I'm thinking from a place of understanding. I understand cash flow. I understand leverage. I understand debt. Like at the beginning, most people don't understand that stuff. They don't understand credit lines. They don't understand credit terms with vendors. They don't understand all that. Like to me, there's so much factors in it. I'd make it so that I'd make the vendors pay for most of the startup cash. And the way I do that is by setting up credit terms, lines of credit, financing the vehicles or leasing them. That's another factor. Like they lease the wraps, so like the shelving, everything's all leased. Like there's ways you can set things up if you're a trustworthy person, right?
Well, you said you need $1 million to start a location. So
Yeah.
you would say that's 10 salespeople. That's,
all that. Yep.
That's a lease. That's a
So
building.
just to give you an example, we started in a new market, a new location a month ago. I think we're up to literally 30 to, no, it's probably like 40 days now. Just over 40 days. I checked this morning. A month and 1 day, 1 week. We're up to 35, 40 employees there already. In 1 month, we have 7 sales guys running, another 10 about to start. We're at 3 installs a day. We're going to be up to 5 here shortly. This is brand new market.
And,
start from
like,
scratch. Got the warehouse and launched.
Walk us through this head count, like between like you have the salespeople, you have the installers, and then what are the other positions that you have for
You
a
need your
location?
appointment setters,
And appointment setters are-
HR. You need HR for each location. Or
HR is not corporate. You
it is.
actually-
HR is corporate. Yeah. So
and then appointment setters. You actually have somebody in the States, like
no, a lot of them are overseas.
okay, overseas, and these are people like
Which country?
Mixture. We have Nicaragua,
Nicaragua speaks
Col-
good English. I've been there a few times.
Colombia, Philippines. I think those are the 3 main.
And how do you find these people? Do you find them yourself? Do you use an agency?
We have a whole entire recruiting staff built in. We have like 10 recruiters on staff.
I mean, Nicaragua speaks pretty good English, but Philippines is better.
That's
Colombia,
interesting.
Colombia.
So take me back to trying to get the vendors to like using leases with the vendors to get a jump start.
It's trust. It's trust. It was increments. And at first, they have to see your financials. So this is where you got to know your financials, have clean financials, balance sheet, show them a clear budget, what we're going to be doing, why we need these vehicles. Because dude, you tell them you're going to order 30 vehicles, like, 30 vehicles at, just getting $1.5 million of debt on them, essentially. Like you don't just go to a vendor, I want to buy 30 vehicles. Like that's what we're doing. We're buying, like last year we ordered 60 vehicles that came in, which we doubled our fleet. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, trust me. And we showed them. And now guess what? This year for next year's growth, when I want to order 100 vehicles,
Wow.
whatever you need.
Do you think you're risking if there's some economic, disaster comes in? There's the stock market crashes. There's political swings. There's so many things that are happening. Do you think you're going too fast, or no?
So
Because Ben is smiling because he's not going too fast, and the older you are, the slower you go.
So we're growing where most companies are stale right now. We're still growing year over year 80%. So, and I think we're in such a niche that like you can't really, like, at the end of the day, you need heating and cooling.
Okay.
It's just how do you take that business that they're gonna buy. Those people are gonna buy. How do I make? They might buy 6 months from now. They might buy a year from now. How do I get them to buy today? So just the answer to your question, I just gotta get better at lead gen
Okay.
and conversion. So at the end of the day, if everything falls apart, crashes, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be toast. Like if everything's at the end of the day, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the banks are lending. They see the vision, they see the budget, so they're willing to bet on us in a way for the vehicle loans. They could always pull back the assets, right? Like it's not like we're over leveraging more than we're going to produce. We know what the investment's going to produce, and it's done it over and over again. Okay. So the answer to your question, I think before it tanks that hard, I think we're going to see signs.
You're basically saying it's not my problem; it's the bank's analytical team. They should.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I don't take more risk than I'm not comfortable with.
Okay.
It's not like I'm just taking this risk and like hoping I'm going to get there. Yeah. No, I know I'm going to get there. So we've proved it in 4 different markets, 4 greenfield startups. We've proved that concept. So to me, I'm just like, dude, it's duplicatable.
Is every location profitable?
Yeah.
Every location profitable?
Yeah, we turn a profit in 4 months of launching it.
Wow.
Cash flow positive.
How do you guys find the people to grow at this rate?
Recruit. You got to have you treat it like sales.
I think you're offering something that better than other companies don't offer because you're poaching a lot of these guys, no?
So during peak demands, we'll throw in sign-on bonuses. We do recruiting bonuses from internal. So let's say we have a common thing that we needed for the summertime is installers. So let's say you're an installer on my team. Hey, lad, you know anyone? I'll give you $5,000 if you find someone.
Like, bring your friend.
Yeah,
you get $5,000.
Yeah. So different kind of metrics depending on the season. A lot of hiring ads. We spent a lot of money on ads.
What percentage, like how much do you spend exactly on hiring ads?
At the rate that we're growing, I think we're spending like $100,000 a month.
Just on ads to hire people, to find people. Wow.
Yeah. For a $70 million company, how much do you spend on marketing?
A month? Yeah, we're close to $800,000 to $1 million. We're roughly we hover around 13 to 15% of revenue.
$1 million. So 70 million, you're doing about 6 million a month.
In what revenue?
In revenue. So 6 million a month.
So you're viewing as a 12-month spam. So the beginning of the year, we were doing about $3 million of revenue. Our peak, we did $8 million.
8 million.
We did $8 million in July.
Okay.
So we're scaling at that rate. So we're going to hit 70 million, but next year, if we don't change anything, we'll do 105.
You can't extrapolate linearly. It's almost exponential.
I'm just looking at the ratio of revenue versus ad spend. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. $1 million spent for 8 million revenue.
What is the cost?
We actually spent
lead?
less. We spent
800.
less. We spent $800,000 in the summer because the heat's there.
So now you're spending less.
We're spending more now.
Oh, you're spending more
because of the demands. So this is what people don't understand. Like demand's dipping down. You have to create demand, so we spend more.
I see.
When the demand's there in the summertime, you spend less
to feed your crews because
in the summer we couldn't. Like we were booked out. If we spent the amount that we're spending now, like we wouldn't be able to fulfill the services.
Do you feel like you can almost hit a market too hard and you're almost getting a false positive on growth because you're running out of people who are like qualified buyers?
I think, and this is another reason why I went to other markets, what happens is you start getting a diminishing return. So if I spend $100,000 here, it takes a little bit more to get the cost per lead goes up, customer acquisition cost goes up. It's a harder ratio to scale. So why not just which I'd have to either bolt on another service or another upsell, another lead generator, maybe it's installation or something like that. Why not just go to another market, duplicate it, and make that money worth a little more?
I see. But so you keep doing that. Like, what about the old, let's just call them like the legacy locations, right? And this goes kind of for both of you. You top out, what does the maintenance and just kind of maintaining cruising altitude plateauing look like? Do you have that mentality that you're just going to hit a certain altitude and cruise, or are you always trying to grow every single location? Or is there a different rate for each location?
It's a different rate. It diminishes down, but you're naturally going to have, depends what you call growth. If you're just looking strictly data, cost of equipment goes up, so we have to sell equipment for more. So you're going to naturally see a revenue growth just by simply because you're increasing price.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really. We got to look at growth of units and crews, not just revenue growth. And you got to understand, we're only 5 years in. So we're only hitting those maturity standpoints at our prime location here right now. But what we're doing is those are guys are a little bit mature. You're starting to see some of those guys go into different positions, maturing positions in the company, some growing into managers. So that's how we end up, I could say, when we're overstaffed, we mature those people, promote them, and then we create either new crews or, let's say, we keep it smaller. So we're seeing generally over year an increase of revenue, but the goal has been now we just launched new locations, and eventually we could bolt on potentially another service. So that's how we're going to
Some
increase.
sort of cross-sell.
Yeah.
So I feel like the path of growth for you've laid it out really well. Ben, I'm curious for you, what is your plan / trajectory for growth? Is it expanding to do different areas within Washington? Unpack that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I actually just expanded our service area today. So
Nice.
So
Wow,
where?
congratulations.
here
Portland?
Oh, Portland?
to Vancouver.
Very cool.
Welcome.
Nice.
Still have a lot of things to figure out as far as logistics and location and all that stuff, but yeah, we're gonna be coming down this way, and then
Well,
Other
congrats.
other
It's
locations
a
to
big
come.
step.
That's
yeah,
huge.
it's I mean, it's funny because I actually wanted to drive down this way to see what it was like and which areas we're gonna be hitting and kind of the atmosphere and what it looks like here.
So what is the strategy for Vancouver then?
In what sense?
I mean, do you need a location first? Or are you going to hire like door knockers or people who are just, doing leads?
Do you need
what
a
does that look
physical
like?
location? Is that, yeah.
Basically, still figuring it out. Put it that way. But kind of what Sam just brought up. You got to have the leads, you got to have the sales, and you got to be able to install.
You're going to crash drones into HVAC systems and then door knock them when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, dude, it just broke. I don't know why. It's like, well, we're here to fix it. Nah, don't do that. That's not a good thing.
It's a multi-touch. They see an ad in that geo, and then he sends all the door knockers, and they
Door
come in
knocking
the
is.
same. Have you seen this logo, by the way, yesterday on Facebook? Ooh.
I think door knocking is going to be a cool thing to see what happens with it. Would you agree?
I mean, in the
Door
summer,
knocking? Yeah.
it's a must try, so for sure. I have a question around exit strategy for you, Sam. What's the goal? What are you trying to achieve with this? How far you want to scale this to?
I talking to a lot of people that have exited. They got the life-changing money, but then they said, hey, I wish, talked to one of my mentors. He exited at, not HVAC, but another company at 700 something million. And I asked him, so if you go back to make the decision to exit or keep your company, and one thing he told me is like, got the money, but 10 years came around quicker, and I feel like at this point I would have kept the cash flow. So just talking to a ton of people, and even in the HVAC space that have exited, I think I'm at the point where how can I grow this thing and keep impacting lives? Because at the end of the day, if I help more people, that's how they're gonna win.
You're fulfilled.
I'll be fulfilled, and I'll win with it. And if that comes to a place where I have to dilute, so that because the growth is growing, and it just makes sense from a risk to put risk aside, and it gives internal promotions from people. They can maybe become shareholders or whatever you want to call it along the way. That's great. I don't have an answer right now. I think we have a way in the next 3 years to get to $500 million in revenue. That's kind of where I'm focused on. And along the way, if we get to having to bring on, that's whatever makes sense at the end of the day. But I just want to help more people, because if I help more people, that's how everyone wins.
So no plans to sell, but if there's somebody who would come up with a big check, with a big ridiculous number, you would probably consider it.
The check, but also the check could be the driver. It could be, of course, at the end of the day, you want to set up
Or
generational.
somebody comes and says 200 million today.
Vlad, is that an offer?
My thing is, I'm still young.
I'm interested. Maybe we can do a deal here.
But I see what we're going to take in the next 2, 3, 4 years. I see that, and I'm like, man, I'm measuring that. Like, because in our area, there's a company, Sela. They sold for like 1.7 billion, which is insane.
I have the same thought around Snap. Like in the beginning, we were like, oh, if we get to 50 million, that's going to be crazy. If we sell for 100 million, this company. And then your appetite is slowly growing, and you see these numbers, you double year over year. And you're like, maybe the goal is 300 million, because we had that number just up recently, beginning of the year. our goal internally was 300 million, just to get to that 300 million valuation, and now it's 500. And then once you start cash flowing and now you're actually getting a really nice net percentage monthly, you're like, maybe I don't even need to sell, you know. So plus it's a brand, it's a legacy, it's your baby, it's a tough decision, but you know, cash speaks for itself.
Well, in your opinion, what would be the benefit of selling versus keeping and holding?
If you have a plan with the money, so let's say you have the next great idea or the next industry, or you have another business that could really benefit of a really nice cash infusion, and you can scale that. Let's say your other business number 2 is already beating that trajectory, and you know that, hey, I have the second business. So for me, like, if I have 5 businesses and one of them is sold, I still have 4 babies that I can grow and get to that goal. So for me, it's knowing exactly what you're gonna do with the money. And for me, I know that 50% is gonna go real estate. We're gonna diversify. We're gonna start building way more. So I'm more comfortable with an idea to sell if I have a plan. If it's the only business you have, and I believe the potential is much bigger. For example, in your case, at 25 million, is that the number?
The trajectory for this year.
Trajectory for this year. The market is so much bigger, and it's easier to win market share. And Sam will agree, because you can see he's a testament to that. So if somebody offers you 25 million, 1x on revenue, which is considered a good deal, think twice, because in 3 years you could be at 100 million. You know, but a good offer is a good offer, and a lot of times it's really hard to decline.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what your goals are.
It really depends on your plans. You're ambitious. If you're 73 years old, just sell it. Just sell it.
Yeah.
Distribute it to your kids, because if you're not confident in your kids that they can take on the business, and if they're not already in the business, they will probably not going to be in the business. So it really is situation by situation. Selling is not a bad option. It's not, if the money's right.
One thing I haven't heard you talk a lot about, Sam, is acquisition. You ever acquire a smaller HVAC shop, just absorb them?
We thought about it. And when we just crunched the numbers, it's just timing, speed. You know, you acquire a shop. You know, the pros are you could have already a running business if it's cash flow, and depending what size it is, there might be some value there. And you're acquiring market share. But if you study the churn, when an acquisition happens, you're losing a good chunk of your staffing right away. They leave within a month or 2. Just you start implementing your systems and processes, staffing churns.
Yeah.
So you have a churn already in staffing, and our model is lead generate. We generate from leads and then turn into system sales, versus a traditional model is they go and service maintenance customers, do low dollar tickets, tune-ups, and they convert that to a system sale. So if they have a list of customers, that's perfect for someone with that model to acquire and scale up. For us, it just makes more sense to greenfield. The only problem or timing I see where we might acquire companies is like for licensing purposes.
What does that mean, licensing purposes?
Like every state has different restrictions on refrigerant HVAC licenses. So you might hire like a license holder to hold for you so that you can go do work.
Could be a really small business,
Yeah.
just for the sake of license.
Just to have a license underneath that business, to be able to have people underneath it.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
Retraining is harder than training.
Funny, because we were literally talking about this right here about acquisitions versus greenfielding on the way here, and the retraining is exactly what we're talking about. Because you have to basically break old habits, and that's the hardest thing to do.
It's the negative part of it, but the existing customer base is good.
yeah.
Pluses
And usually the
and
amount that you're going to
minuses.
spend because of the multiple they're going for right now, acquisition wise, unless you can get a really good deal.
What's the multiple?
Depends on size of the business, but you're getting anywhere from 5x to 15x on companies.
On EBITDA.
On EBITDA, yeah, not revenue.
And normal net profit in that business is around 15%. Is that the target?
I mean, now you should be like, we're hitting about 15%, but we should be hitting closer to 20%. But we're just growing
Fully
so fast.
optimized 20%.
20%, and then with AI coming in, I think you should be able to hit 25-30%.
I want to ask a question I've actually never asked on the podcast before.
What's up?
How many hours a week do you guys work on average?
I'm so actually surprised you've never asked that. How did that never come up on it?
I don't
That's
know.
interesting. We
I
never
don't know.
thought of that.
Yeah. And I've got follow-up questions to this, but what's like average? Because it
Now
ebbs and flows.
or before?
Yeah, that's
Both. Give me both numbers.
Before it was I lived to work. Like it was just, dude, I was
It's like 100 plus a week.
yeah, I was 7 days a week. I was hustling. Now I think I'm closer to, I'd say 50, 60. And it's not because, and I honestly, I think I'm always working because I'm always thinking. and
You're always on
innovating.
the phone. You're
like
always...
thinking, but like I got a lot better. I'm home, decent time, but like sometimes I do have to stay later, and I'm realizing that working more is not necessarily what's important. It's about what you get done in the time that you do work. How productive are you? So that's where I'm more focused on now, is like, how do I create results? Because that thought, be something that you think for a while, but to produce it takes 2 hours to build, or 4 hours, 5 hours to build. But like it takes this intense, dedication to knock it out, and like that can drain you. Like if you're building, for me, like if I'm building something locked in, like it takes, like if I'm going in at it, it could drain you. It feels like you worked 20 hours, but that the reward then is like, well, it feels good, but I built that and it's keep building. So I don't really measure hours.
Well, what about Ben?
Well, it's funny you asked that, because I think, similar to Sam, it just depends on when. Like, my daughter was born in October 21st, 2020, was it 3, basically? Yeah. And last year we went, so 23 we finished off at like 5.2, and last year we finished off at 16 million. So during the biggest growth phase that we had, I had a newborn at home, and I was sleeping like 2 to 5 hours a night and having to push.
You still look sleepy.
Sometimes you never recover from being a parent, bro. Sometimes you
I'm
never
just
recover.
remembering what it was like.
Wow.
yeah.
I mean,
so
that's brutal.
During
That's
that
really
phase,
brutal.
like last year, I mean, dude, I literally don't remember last year. I don't remember anything besides showing up to the office, leaving the office. Like, I don't even know if I ate dinner sometimes. I would just come home, like take a shower, pass out. And I really, like, remember how you gave Nastya a shout out? Like what a good wife does?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for my wife. Like, there's wives that nag you, where are you at, when are you coming home? No. Like, I didn't have that. She understands the mission. She understands what we're trying to build. And I think that is a huge advantage that I have.
So she is having a newborn.
I'm
and
gone.
She doesn't even text you when you're coming home.
Sometimes she will if it's like 9 o'clock. But
Wow.
she's very, very, like, that's what I mean, is I've had other friends that have had newborns, and I've seen, how their relationships are and what their wives say to them. But she just, so what's funny is I was telling this to Sam too. It's like, before I got married, like I was telling her, like, we're going to do something. I'm going to be busy. I'm going to grow something. I don't know what, but I'm going to do something. So I think I set that expectation up front, and she believed me even when there was nothing to believe.
Right. Well, good job. What a warrior woman.
How it's interesting you say that the business grew, the fastest growth was actually when you had a child. It's almost counterintuitive because
I already
you're more
know
tired.
where you're going with this.
Yeah. Why, if you had to give your own reason as to why that is, what would your reason be?
First baby, right?
Yeah.
And I think I know why, but I want to hear you.
Well, there's a couple of things that go into it. Like I was telling you guys earlier, my parents split when I was young, and that was really, really rough. I was scared to be a dad for a long, long time. Like, to be honest, even when my wife told me she's pregnant, instantly I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, I think I was very afraid of being a bad dad. Like, I can't explain. I'm actually like, feeling that emotion right now. And it's just like, I was so scared to fail there, And I think that having the daughter, it's like, and she's the daughter, so she's sweet, she melts you. And like, that's an emotion I never experienced because I was so
Tough.
You were callous.
I don't want to say tough. I think
Stern.
God knew what he was doing when he gave me a daughter. I'll say that because throughout my life, there's a lot of things that have happened that have changed me and hardened me and made me very calloused. And she softened me up. And, having that newborn and it being a baby girl and her being so sweet, I think it just made me want to really make sure that someday I can have no excuse not to be with my kids, which means finances and time. And it's like, just push,
So that gave you extra fuel, extra energy just to completely go in.
I think
and
that's
maybe
what it was.
somebody would say is gonna, hey, stop. You have a daughter at home. You should go spend time with her. And for you, it was the opposite. It's like, I want to build something. I want to build a future for my family.
Yeah, 100%. Because
That's
I think that you can look at it one of two ways. You can either be like, I want to be here present during this time where they're growing up and they're very young, or you can try to be there later on. But ultimately, you have to, we all have to basically pay a price in our lives. We can either pay the price early or we could pay it late. I would rather pay it early and enjoy my later years.
Well, hopefully you're not going to forget that. And when she starts growing up, when she starts running around, and she's already running around, right?
She is.
And calling you daddy, calling you on
Daddy's
the phone,
home. That's what it is recently.
FaceTime. Daddy, when are you coming home?
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right.
Well-
So 2 questions we always ask everybody we have on the show. What advice would you give to somebody just getting started or just a former version of yourself? And 2, what book would you recommend somebody read who wants to get started?
Do more than you say and you'll get more than you ask. That's what I'll tell everyone. Do more than you say. People talk. Too many people talk. They talk to themselves too much. They end up talking themselves out of things when they should be talking themselves into things. Just do what you say. Action. When you start moving, you create momentum. You will realize you will start thinking differently. New opportunity doors. You create your opportunity. If you are waiting for the opportunity, create the opportunity. Because opportunity is waiting for the right person to walk in the door.
I like that.
And that's what a lot of people miss. So that's what I say. Just keep doing it. If you're working for someone, dude, work for them. This was my mindset. Work for them as if you're working for your own company. Do everything diligently. Do everything like you're working for
the expectation.
Be exceptional. Work with excellence. Pursue the spirit of excellence. Why? It's not because of actually doing a good job at that moment. What you're truly developing is the excellent spirit, the excellent character within you, so that when you can't lead someone to a place that you've never been. So if you don't know how to lead from a place of excellence or lead from a place of getting things done, like how do you expect your team? If you can't lead yourself, how do you expect your team? If you can't run, let's say you're a technician, you're working or you're an auto, like if you can't fix that car with exception, like how are you going to run a whole shop with it? Now, to a degree, I don't think that you have to actually be good at it, but my point is whatever position you're in, do it with excellence. It develops the right mindset, my opinion. And then what book would I recommend reading? I think a lot of especially with early on success or wherever you're at, and you need to learn how you think, but you also need to learn how other people think. So you should really, the power, what's that book? I would say How to Win Friends and Influence, which is kind of like, I feel like a lot of people oversay it, but at the same time, the reason why I recommend that book, you need to understand how people think, how people talk, and how can you make sure it doesn't matter what you think or what you can say if they can't understand you. So if you can't communicate, good luck. So for me, I think that'd be the most simplest, or my answer, I should say.
How old are you right now?
How old am I? I just turned 30.
30. So imagine 18. When you were 18, what would you tell 18-year-old yourself?
I think it's actually very similar to what I was thinking, even though you gave me that nugget. But it's essentially like just starting and getting the reps in. I've seen myself change so much over these past few years where, like I said, I was more of a perfectionist in the beginning, and then that had to die. And don't be afraid to die to yourself. Like that, there's certain layers that have to die so you can essentially be reborn, and there's new versions of you that you have to create. And the faster you do that is the faster you'll get to where you want to be. And similar to that, do not care what people think. Just do it. Because Sam intentionally quit his company. Like, I got basically let go and laid off, and it's like I had to go from a position of making, I would say, pretty decent money to like making scraps. And like I'm with a friend at the time frame, all my friends are enjoying these new cars or whatever it is that they're buying, and like I went from making X amount to making like $3K a month, just getting married, having to pay the bills, completely downgrading my lifestyle, and not seeing any returns for years.
And buying a van.
Yeah, exactly. So just pretty much get the reps in, fail faster, and change, like adapt. I think that's kind of what I would sum it up to. As far as books, I think it depends on where you're at. I think that's a great leadership book. And I knew you were going to say that. It's funny. But I just finished reading How to Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And that's been huge for me. So that actually ties in with the question you asked about how many hours you work now. It's less than before because I actually manage my schedule and I try to respond versus react.
That's awesome.
And how many hours is that?
I try to be out of the office by 4:30 at this point, but I'm there at 6:30.
Oh, okay.
So 50 hours.
So you're still up there, like close to 60 hours.
The difference, I would say the biggest difference is a lot of last year was a lot of reacting to everything that came up. Every problem, every pissed off customer, every situation that was bad. Your contractor license expired. You're operating. How are you operating without a contractor's license? It was fire, fire, fire. Now it's just like.
All right. Last question, and you mentioned a mentor. You said, I talked to my mentor. So tell me about that. Obviously, you're young. You're looking up. You've had that example when you flew to LA and actually talked to a guy. Is that your mentor?
No.
Do you have any local mentors? Who's your mentor?
So I hired Ryan Blair. Who's my
Ryan
mentor.
Blair.
Yep. So I have Ryan Blair right now, and then he's helping me right now. But at the end of the day, I think
It's like 1-to-1 type of calls?
1-to-1. Yep. Right now
Nice.
it's 1-to-1. So, but at the end of the day, I think your mentor doesn't have to be a physical person. Your mentor, I think in the beginning, is someone that's a little bit ahead of you. And then you start to listen to go find their podcast, go tour their shop, whatever it is that you go. Like, you don't even have to go out for coffee. Just, we're in such a time, there's so much information out there. So there's some people doing podcasts. You can find a lot about someone just without even meeting with them. Like, you don't have to physically be with them 1-to-1.
No, but specifically like an industry, industry person that went through this, that is so much ahead of you in the game, and so on. So like industry
I'm
expert.
connected with a lot of guys in the industry. So I
So you run like a little community group chat.
it's not really a community group chat. I just TM text people when I'm in a bind or something like that. But now what's happening is, I feel like there's this point where like you're trying to like grow because you're trying to get somewhere like where someone else has been, and then what transitions over. And this is something actually what my ops manager told me the other day. Actually, that's why I'm bringing this up. And he's been with me since the beginning. He's like, Sam, I feel like what happened is we were growing for many years looking at other people, but now like the vision is becoming so real. We're starting to essentially, the vision is becoming so real. We're starting to create our own ways.
Yeah, you become the leader.
We became the leader in a way. And that's what I believe, that's what just happened in our transition of this last phase of growth, because it forced people to get it really, and I believe that's why I'm super excited for this next year. This is going to be our biggest growth, and I believe it's going to be the least, I don't want to say stressful, but it's going to be the most
exciting.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot more fluid, smoother. Like this next phase of growth is like, it's more calculated, right? It's more
Data driven.
Yeah, data driven. It's more like everyone's on the same page versus before I was the one, and then they're picking up the scraps behind it. Right now, everyone's engaged in it. So that's what the phase we're in.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. This is super inspiring to see young guys that are under 30. Sam is under, and you're 30.
I just hit 30, so I don't qualify under anymore.
Well, let's
30 and under. There it is.
30 and under. Amazing story, and I'm excited, that you're faith-driven entrepreneurs that really don't forget who you are, what the end goals is. You're impacting lives, not just financially, but people look up to you, so don't forget that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you mentioned that faith aspect, because I was just going to say before like you're closing this out that, yeah, it's all glory to God.
Amen.
I know I'm nothing special. I'm sure you would agree.
100%.
And
Well, Sam is special.
I know he is, but we gotta.
No,
You guys know what I mean.
Of course.
you will learn, and I think without God, like you can't do nothing.
100%.
And yeah, to me, you have to.
I actually really feel like I want to share this, like the faith aspect of business. You guys all know this. Like, there have been times where sales are so slow, and I'm driving to the office in the morning, and I am just declaring sales and speaking in tongues and just, we're going to be killing it today. I don't care what happens. I command our sales to increase in the name of Jesus Christ. And,
Amen. Let's go.
sometimes, dude, I'm telling you, like, boom, 10 sales in one day. Just,
Come on.
I can't, it's not, like, that's why I say I'm nothing special, because I've seen, like, the faith aspect of this is like, you are tested here, and you are going to see God come through if you trust in Him. If you try to do it on your own, you're going to fall flat on your face.
Yeah. So what do you expect next year to be for you?
I'm going to try to double up.
Double.
That's awesome.
All right.
Double or nothing.
How about we'll do this next year in a year, and we're going to celebrate your double up.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
It
so
was
much.
awesome.
Guys, we just got done talking to Ben and Sam. It was an amazing conversation. If you got value out of this conversation, hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe. Thank you.